I come from Italy, and this is important to understand my work, because we in Italy have always the problem to reach the best countries in Europe. So there's always a big discussion between who says that we have to look what the big countries do and do the same, and someone else that says we will never reach them by doing the same things, because they will always be better than us at doing that, and so we have to find something else, some other ways. And in the last years I was working with women's handball, also in national federation, and everybody knows that the most used defensive system in women handball is 6-0. And last season, 2015-2016, there were a couple of big teams doing something different. Of course, not during all the matches, not during the 60 minutes of the match, but they did it very often. And the two teams I'm talking about are Győr, that they lost the Champions League final only at 7 meters shoot, who played 3-1 in many games and also in the final. And Russia, that played the World Championship in Denmark with a many open defense system, and they did a great tournament. They won against a lot of important teams like Norway, against France, and they lose just one match, the quarterfinals against Poland, and so they arrived at the fifth place. But it's not a surprise that they won the Olympics, judging their World Championship tournament. And what is interesting to notice is that the coach of the Poland, who won against Russia, and the coach of Bucharest, who won against Győr, was the Danish Kim Rasmussen. It was the same coach. It's we don't know if it's a case or is a combination or there is something logic after that. But why almost team play 6-0 in women's handball? The first thing is body anthropometry. There are some studies that says that obviously female is smaller than man. In a comparison between the first Danish league, the women player were 15 centimeters lower and 22 kilos smaller than men. This means that they just play in the same court. So it's logic that to cover the 6-meter line you need more female players than men. And also because there are slower sideways movements. And another curiosity is the lower ball coverage index. That is the percentage of the hand covering the ball. This goes to perhaps slower shoot and more ball losing. Okay, and this maybe means that 6-0 is a good defense because you don't have to press too much to get ball and to conquer ball in defense. But obviously there are tactical reasons. The first reason everyone plays 6-0 is probably that everyone plays 6-0. It's a word pun, but it's true, because every woman player is growing, playing 6-0. They know everything about this defense. Every clubs are playing this defense. So if you are a new coach working with a team, you just do the easy way, you do what everybody already knows, and you just fix something, and you go to the next step. If you want to implement a new defense, an open defense, maybe you will have to even convince the players that your idea is a good idea. Because maybe they will say, hey, everybody does this, why should we do something different? And you have to teach them. You have to spend more hours to teach them how another defensive system works. There is a so-called woman style. I found that on Michalsik's work that he analyzed, and he saw that in women's handball there are less contacts, less clasping, less fouls in first Danish league. So maybe he hypothesized that there is a different style of women handball, so that the 6-0 defense fits more in this women's style, supposed women's style. And maybe this is another reason why it's better to play 6-0 than the throw speed. Of course, women respect to men, their shoot is slower. So why I should care too much of the shooters while I take a lot of goals from 6-meter line? And also the pivot play, pivots are smaller and are more agile, working more in the space that men's handball. And so that they can move in this space more, and so people doesn't leave a lot of space on the 6-meter line. But of course there are some limits in a close defense. There's a new generation of players. Christina Neago is an example, Polman is another example, Amorim is another example. We see every day more shooters in women's handball, even more. And also there are big pivots. There's a lot of situation where the pivots is put between first and second defender, and there's this mismatch of sides between the first defender and the pivot. So there's a lot of solutions that the coach have to analyze and put in practice to prevent this mismatch. You always leave a free playmaking when you play on the 6-meter line. So if you play against a team that is very good and organizing their attack, you will need to make some anticipation, and so you see a lot of players from 6-meter line going out to prevent a pass or to prevent the other team to organize their attack. So all of this is leading 6-0 to a more deconstructed defense, I called it, because it's more individualized. There is no big collaboration between 3 or 4 players, but it's a lot of individual defense and collaboration between 2 players. So I think probably Martin Ambros and Evgeny Trefilov, they thought, why don't we try to do something different? Why don't we try an open defense? And the first reason maybe is that everyone plays 6-0. So the main reason why everyone prefers 6-0 maybe is the best reason not to do it, because every team is used to play against this defense. Every team knows everything of the defensive system, and every game you play in the championship, you learn more against this defense. But when you find someone that is playing an organized open defense, you have new problems. And you don't have experience in this situation to play against this system. Otherwise, the team that is playing something different, every week or every day, every game, they learn something new, and they got specialized to do that defense. So you can have an advantage in doing something that few people do. And then you have an entire, completely different defense you can use during the match. So you can have more variation during games. When you have one defensive system, you can accommodate your defensive system. But now, if you have an open defense also, you can use both. And you can make more variation during games. This leads also to take control of the game, because when you open an aggressive defense, open defense, you take control of the situation, if you're good at doing it. And this can lead to more fast breaks. Both teams, they also had good goalkeepers from short distance. This is very, very, very important because Grisbo, she's very agile. Seidokina also, they are good players from the wing shot. But let's see how they did this. Győr played 3-2-1. It's not the classical 3-2-1. They have some concept from 3-3, some concept from 5-1, but there is something we can say they have in common, is that Yvette Broch, she's a very tall player, she's a very intimidating player, and she was outside more man-oriented than ball-oriented. So you will never see her doubling the ball, but always oriented to her player. The second defender were Nikki Groth and Heidi Loke. They played very aggressive on the ball side and helping the pivot on the other side. Okay? Eduarda Amorim, she was playing back, and she's very good at blocking, and they are a great couple of three defenders. In the matches when Győr played 6-0, they played together in defense, but also you can see when they play 6-0 that Yvette Broch was more aggressive, more out, and Amorim had a more conservative way of playing in defense. And this is the perfect situation where they both defend in the middle, but they can do what they best do in this defense. And the wing players were the first defender. They had to cover the wing, and when a wing was coming inside, they went to man-to-man defense to the back player. This is important because we will see how Bucharest used these situations to probably to win the Champions League. In fact, one situation was the transition of a back player. What did Győr do with a transition? The outside defender went together with the back inside, and they transformed the 3-1 to a 4-2. The other, the Brock went to one of the two back players outside, and the other second defender out man-to-man to the other one. So this is a typical situation when a back player was going inside the pivot line. And they showed great adaptability to this situation. There is a match against Ferencváros, I think, where there was a fake transition, and they switched to 4-2. So Loke is going to go out, and Brock going to the other back player. But then, this player is going outside on the left side. So Loke finds herself in this position, and after a few seconds, when they realize the situation, she comes back, and they continue playing 3-1. I can show you. No. Yes. She's going inside. The ball is on the other side. Look, high density on the ball side. Then the ball comes out. This moment Loke is here. But when the ball goes again out, she comes back and they still play 3-1. I think it's a great achievement for a team to be able to start with a system, react, and then again react when something is again changing. They got the ball. Another situation we will see is the final, because Kim Rasmussen organized an attack with the wing transition, but with the ball. And he let Carmen Martin playing here, this space. Remember, you have the wing player with a transition that is going out to the back. This was the rule of the Győr defense. And the second player is staying with the pivot. She is oriented. Look, the ball is there, but Brock is always looking the hair play. And this is a constant situation. And so, Bucharest played this situation with Carmen Martin attacking here in this space. And we will see in the action how this completely changed the defense of Győr. Maybe.
Am I?
Yes?
20 minutes is over.
Really? I have 5 minutes for the 20.
Okay, go ahead.
I was trying to be fast. Okay.
Wing transition.
This one is the situation, but I will go faster. So this is 3-1. She's coming up, and this is the situation when she attacks between Amorim and Brock. And the defense is completely has to change. Other situation where center back and pivot crossing. Udo Knost played a cross with pitch, blocking, screening Brock. And then they reacted with the two defenders coming back to the 6-meter line. And what Rasmussen did in the final was to combine this cross with a transition, so that the middle of the defense, where Győr had two of their best defenders, was completely open. Look, they cross with a pivot, and in the cross of pivot, Amorim was standing on the 6-meter line. But there was a transition. So Brock, you see, she's going to her back player on the right side of the attack. But in this moment, they are crossing here. So she's completely taken out from the middle of the defense. and they create a big superiority situation on the other side. This is just one example, but they played this situation for all the first half of the final match with this combination and the wing cutting. Then there is Russia. They played a lot of open systems, 5-1, this is a match against Korea, or 3-3 against Poland, that's the match they lost. They were very aggressive. They had small, few rules. First one was be aggressive with the direct opponent. Look how she is ready to be aggressive here. Switch if there is a cross. If there is a transition, go down to the 6 meter, follow your player, because there is a very individualized system, and follow the pivot. Look what happens when the pivot comes off the 9 meter and the back center is coming on the 9 meter line. This is against France, this is against Poland, it's the same situation. Pivot out, the back defender is going out. But they had a very good help system because this is an action. They are all helping on the side of the ball, but when the ball comes on the other side, every player is ready to go after another player attacker. So the wing, the first defender comes out here, and she is the center forward. She's coming back and she's running to close the wing. And they got the ball in this action. Just this and the conclusion. So, this is ball, they're helping. This is the outside defender, there's a wing here. They're helping. The front center now starts running to close because she's going out and she will close that. They were ready to help each other. Right? And these actions show it very clearly. Conclusion. Is it possible to do this really? Because the anthropomorphic issue is standing. Because it will be, I think it will be impossible to play an open defense for 60 minutes and against every team. But for sure, both Russia and Georg demonstrate that it is possible to overcome the problems related to more space on a 6 meter line with a good density. We saw a lot of good density, and enough pressure performed by the first line of defenders. If you put enough pressure to who has the ball, maybe they are not able to use the space that they have on the 6 meter line. It's very interesting, a timeout from Ambrose Martin, where he says to his team, the problem in defense is that we start to open and then we go down and nobody touched the shooter. So it is much better to start down and then fall out and tackle them when they are at 9 or 10 meters. So they wanted to defend at 10 meters. And if somebody moves in, help each other and let them shoot from the wing. This is what he says in January. Touch the shooter, help inside, a lot more shots to the wing. If this is only an exception or a new trend starting, we will see. But I think that many coaches can take courage from Ambrose Martin, from his philosophy, and maybe try to build more and more aggressive systems. Because they can be a powerful weapon in our hands during matches. Probably for 10 minutes, for 15 minutes, but you can change the momentum of the game, you can surprise your opponents, and I come from Italy, so I had to cite a Latin poet who said, "Audentes fortuna juvat," that means that fortune helps those daring. And so probably there can be space in the future for more defensive open system. Thank you.
Okay. Questions, remarks, comments? Okay, I would like to have one question. You started with your presentation with women's handball. It's basically everybody uses 6-0.
Yes.
It refers to the past as well, because Korean national team, women's national team won quite many gold medals with the 3-1 defense system, and also the Serbian, later on Croatian national teams also apply this system.
I just, when I say everybody, of course it's almost everybody, but
hang on, this is a thesis. Whatever you say, you have to prove it. So careful with those almost or not almost.
yeah, I think I wrote almost on the thesis, but yes, almost.
Yeah, okay, so
Yes, yeah, you're right. I think that there's always exceptions, and winning exception, no? And you always see when someone does something new and it wins, it means always something more than when someone does something new and it doesn't win. Because the World Championship, Russia did a very good job with this defense, but we remember them because they won the Olympics. And they played in the Olympics less out open defense as they played in the World Championship. But this is something that is a valuation of the coach at the moment and the situation. So I think that there are many examples, but of course in women's handball you see less open defense than in men's handball.
So just some suggestion. The last European Championship, so I was lucky that I could make the analysis. From 16 teams, 16 used 6-0 defense. Sometimes additional 5-1, 5+1, but never mind. Why? Because I'm sure the women, they are not so tall, not so strong, and they don't feel safety if they are outside. So when they come up, so they like I form and they like the coach to be together, to feel that somebody is very close to them, and there is a safety for them. But now at this European Championship, and okay, the other one, back to the Russian. Okay, they were satisfied. The World Championship 3-1 defense, the open defense. And now they make absolutely 6-0. So it's a reason the trainer or the coach, they have to know the reason why they changed the defense system. And the men team, some years ago, especially the French team, they started to use the different defense system in one attack. Okay? In one action, it depends on the tactic of the attacker. And now in this European Championship, 3 teams. So I'm here from the beginning, and I watched a number of matches. Minimum 3 teams use it. So they start with 6-0. After the transition from wing position, immediately 5+1. And if they go outside, sometimes 3-1 or to 5-1. So in one attack, it is nowadays it is a tendency in the women handball also.
So you're confirming that this is a trend?
Yeah, it has to be the trend.
Yes.
And I am fully agree with you, because everybody exercise against and play against 6-0. then they have to find some new system, not new system, but to use the other system. Yeah.
Yeah.
But if they learned how can they play against the open defense, they will go back again. And the second reason on this European Championship, no big player personality in the back position. You told me, you or something maybe, Simone, you told about Neagu. Neagu is really very good shooter, but okay, Nora, but it's not classical shooter. It's also one clear from meter 50 centimeters, very good clear, but I miss the really successful players in the back position. Yes, and that's why
You have to open their defense. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.